If you like pain, then this is the video for you. Recently, I've been experimenting with the Riot Shield no gun strategy and want to do a video on it. If I had to summarise the experience of using this class, it's probably that it's extremely rewarding, but extremely frustrating as well. You can get some amazing gameplays with this setup, alongside some terrible ones. Definitely, you'll enjoy some of the most stressful games you've ever had. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction you get with this class when you kill an enemy, but my god does it take some getting used to. If you can handle the learning curve, this class can be an amazing tactic if you're going for wins. Other than that, it's just great fun in general. In this video, I'm going to be covering the setup for this class, gameplay with it, as well as the pros and cons of using it in Warzone. I just want to say that this video is geared towards solo Warzone players, as you'll see from the gameplay. A Riot Shield tactic is totally possible in quads or trios, but the playstyle you use is necessarily different. If you are one of these players, then this video is definitely still of interest to you, as I'll be offering plenty of general guidance and tactics. First off is the setup, and this is pretty simple for the most part. There's no attachments to worry about. You just slap on a Riot Shield for your primary and add a tactical knife for your secondary. There's literally no variation possible. Lethal is the same for me. There's no other choice other than the throwing knife. This is an up close and personal class, so you don't want to be worrying about residual damage from your own explosives. Sure, a C4 might well be easier to use, but you're just as likely to hurt yourself with it as you are the other player. You need all the health you can get with this setup, hence the throwing knife. Tactical grenades are also pretty straightforward. It's either a stun or a flash grenade really. Both will slow and confuse your enemy, so it's personal preference. I personally run a stun grenade just for the extra slowness that it offers, but that's just me. Perks is where you can really enjoy a bit of wiggle room with this class, and fine tune it to your playstyle. Perk 1 is a simple EOD, and not having this isn't an option. Staying safe from all the explosives you'll have chucked to you is essential. You won't have a chance without this. Perk 2 is more open. I'd say there's either Ghost or Restock that you'll have to pick between. Ghost will keep you off the map, which, in solos at least, is pretty important. But then Restock will keep you stocked up on tactical grenades, which is also crucial. Honestly, you have to play around and see what works for you. I switch between the two pretty regularly myself. Perk 3 is the same deal. Here you're picking between Amped and Battle Hardened. Honestly, this one is the hardest choice overall. Amped means you can push on much easier, as getting your tac knife out quickly is a real bonus. But then if you get flashed or stunned, you have a serious problem, which is where Battle Hardened would come in. Truth be told, this one is definitely up to you. If you find yourself dying to crack grenades often, run Battle Hardened. If you can't cope with the slow weapon switch, run Amped. Now, let's get on to the gameplay which you can expect from this class, along with the playstyle that goes with it. Obviously, you need to spend the initial section of your game gathering the funds to call in a loadout drop and get your kit together. Once you've done this, get ready to abandon everything you know about playing Warzone. The range of this class is quite literally as far as you can throw. The throwing knife is your only ranged weapon. It's a 2-hit kill from full plays, so you need to be prepared to always follow up with a melee attack. Generally, when it comes to dealing with enemy players, you've got to play it smart. Ideally, you want to be sneaky up on an enemy wherever possible. If you can get an assassination, then that is the perfect outcome. I'd recommend running dead silence if you happen across one in the wild, as this makes a stealth approach much easier. If you don't have one, crouch walking up to your target is your best bet. Keeping out of their line of sight will make things much easier. The swinging rate on the tac knife is extremely fast, so if you can hit them before they start shooting, then you've already won. However, this isn't always possible, I'll admit, so you need to know how to react when dealing with an enemy head on. If an enemy sees you, naturally you should switch to your Riot Shield and keep an eye on them. First things first is closing the distance between you and them. The further away you are, the more of an advantage you're giving them. Getting up close and personal gives you the best chance of winning. Push up with the Riot Shield and keep the gap nice and small. A lot of players will panic at this as they just don't have an idea what to do. If they turn and run, then that's your cue to sprint after them. If you can close the gap, you can either pull an assassination or just cut them up with your tac knife. You can also just chuck one of your tactical grenades to slow them down, then go for the kill. Tac grenades can be used also to close this initial distance, provided that you're accurate. If you can land a throwing knife, you don't even need to switch the tac knife and simply finish them off with the Riot Shield when it's appropriate. But the shield does do so little damage that this isn't usually advisable. Another decent option is to wait for them to have to reload. You'll have a few seconds where they are literally defenseless, and this is a great opportunity to push up. Now if they start throwing explosives at you, it's important that you keep pushing them regardless. EOD will keep you safe, and they'll run out pretty quick. If you're concerned for your health, then you can always back up. On the off chance they put an RPG, just back it up even harder. 4 shots from an RPG will definitely finish you off, so be careful in this scenario. As long as you make good use of your tactical grenades, you should be fine. An important thing to bear in mind here is that when you're using this class, height is the most important factor. If you can be shot over the top of your Riot Shield, then you've got a pretty big problem on your hands. Again, closing down your opponent as fast as possible is the best solution to this. If you see someone on a rooftop sniping at you, pull your Riot Shield out and back off. A major point to play with this class is to stick to buildings. Open spaces are not your friends. You want your opponent to be able to move around as little as possible, as you yourself are effectively a human tank. Closing someone down in the field and going for a melee is a hell of a lot harder than it is in a corridor. You can't win them all though, wherever you are. Really with this class, it's trial and error. You're just going to have to practice and see what approach works for you. Now we've reached the chapter of pros and cons, and there's a lot to talk about here. A major pro of this class is the Riot Shield itself and all the protection it gives you. If it's on your back, you can rest assured that you aren't going to be surprised by a player behind you. If you're running from someone, you effectively have your back covered at all times. If you're going up a ladder, you're not going to get shot off unless someone is right beneath or above you. It's really a blessing to not have to worry about being shot at by at least one direction at all times. This is especially nice when you're on a buy station, especially in solos. It's very hard to shoot you if all they can see is the Riot Shield itself. Plus, if you need to wait out a ring, sitting in a corner and being protected from all directions is very easily done. At the same time though, the Riot Shield is not perfect. It doesn't block all of the bullets coming at you, unless you're tracking enemy shots perfectly. When you're inches from an enemy, a spraying SMG will find its way through your shield. At this point, if you wait around too long, you will end up dead. Plenty of times I've hesitated too long and my health has been whittled away. Unfortunately, sometimes the situation just won't be right for you, and that's that. If an enemy outplays and outmaneuvers you, there's very little you can do. It's very hard to make an escape with a Riot Shield, as you don't have the means to suppress an enemy at range. A hail of bullets is a lot more intimidating at range than a throwing knife is going to be. On the topic of bullets though, the stealth this class offers you is something bullets never will. If you're looking to stay off the map, then you can't get much better than this. A throwing knife, stun grenade, or melee never show up on the radar. With the exception of the stun, there's very little noise for anyone to hear either. If you're late game and trying to keep your position a secret, then this class will do that for you. But with this pro comes the con of range, which you don't have any of. I don't want to spend too much time on this as it's pretty obvious, so I'll summarise by saying you only have a knife, so don't expect too much. If you want to get the most out of this class, then playing it smart is by far and away your best option. You need to constantly be aware of where enemies are and how you're going to deal with the next enemy you come across. A lot of this can seemingly come down to luck. If an enemy gets the drop on you, you're going to be hard pressed to fight back. You have to constantly worry about enemies on rooftops as well as people being out of range you wouldn't normally be. Plus, you can't go anywhere near open spaces as that's you done right there. All of this can be very frustrating, especially when you make it close to the end of the game, just to get bottled in a fight you know you could have won with a gun. But I would still recommend this class. I've never had so much fun in Warzone as I have with this. Every kill is so intense and rewarding. You know that you earned it as you're at a disadvantage a lot of the time. You feel like you earned whatever spot you finish in as well. Playing in a way that requires forward thinking and planning at all times is stressful, but it's also a good laugh. Personally, I really enjoy the challenge that this class offers as it's simply so unique. If you're looking to change up your approach in Warzone and want something totally different, then look no further. This class is best of the best for entertainment and satisfaction. Just be prepared to die a bit along the way.